Yo.
Yep, there you are, Steve.
Hey, listen, this is Stevie Broski, first-time caller, long-time listener, and I've had it up to my eyeballs with the shenanigans in this town. Let me tell you something. That Kevin Albert guy is a real schmuck. I was reading on the worldwide internet on this amazing website called the Turtle Boy Daily News that this guy got hammered down the Cape with Chippy Proctor and left his badge and gun in the cruiser. He was more juiced up than Jill Daniels on spring break. And then he gets put under internal affairs investigation, but guess who's doing the investigating? Can you believe this? Gallagher, Lieutenant Gallagher. Like we don't pay, that guy gets paid more money than the president, for crying out loud. And we're gonna put Gallagher on the case. The same Gallagher that couldn't find no taillight all over Brian Albert's lawn on January 29th, 2022. If he can't find 45 pieces of taillight and a shoe, how's he gonna investigate this guy? And what are the receipts say? Oh, him and Chippy Proctor, they went down to the beer garden and they got a whole bunch of beers at the brewery and they had like 5 cocktails or something like that. And but he was sober. He was sober because he's got a high tolerance at level because he's McAlbert. The McAlberts have magic tolerance levels. They can drink on the job and there's no consequences for them whatsoever. How are you going to put Gallagher in charge of this investigation? This town's out of control. Let me tell you, I can't even walk by down Washington Street without getting accosted by Jim Farris. And let me tell you something. You guys need to do something about that. You need to make him clean that Prius up. It's disgusting. It smells like cigarettes up and down the street. It's a real health hazard for the whole town. And don't even get me started. I know Chicken Pipe Charlie, who's too scared to have these meetings in public because he's sitting at home drinking his extra large Dunkin' Donuts, extra cream and sugar iced coffee. He's sitting there like a coward, nodding his head, and he's pretending to be scared. And let me tell you another thing. All this witness intimidation nonsense that your police are doing, it needs to stop. Let the people protest. Let the people come down there and say, listen, you guys stink. And I'll tell you, these people in front of D&E Pizza, they need to keep their hands to themselves. They're handier than Brian Higgins after 5 whiskeys and gingers. Okay, you need to stop it. The corruption in this town is out of control, and I've had enough of it. And we need more people like Rita Lombardi to start replacing some of you lol cows up on there who sit there and do nothing. You won't even face the people. What are you scared of? You're scared of middle-aged women who are just upset about all the corruption in the town. It's out of control. All right. So you guys need to do something about it. And let me tell you one more thing.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Zabrowski. Thank you. Your time is up. Thanks for being a long-time listener. Next, we have Brenda Sweeney. Ms. Sweeney, give us just a second to unmute you. All right. You there, Ms. Sweeney?
Yep. Can you hear me?
Yep. Perfect.
2018 body on the road, 2018 drowned, 2018 car accident, 2019 suicide, 2020 suicide, 2021 Sandra Birchmore, suicide until it wasn't, 2022 Officer John O'Keefe, motor vehicle homicide until it wasn't, 2023 drowned, 2023 overdose, 9 unattended deaths since 2018 in Canton alone. For the record, my car is in excellent mechanical condition and I am not suicidal, just in case someone prefers even numbers. 34 Fairview Road. Canton PD was on the scene first in search for evidence. State police came later and claimed they found more evidence. Who stood up and said, no, we were there. That stuff wasn't there in the morning. No one. Instead, you let the state police waltz in, tap dance all over your integrity. And when they took a bow and exited stage left, you said nothing. You did nothing. You did not show us 1 ounce of integrity. Instead, you started clapping to the beat of their drum, helping them craft the narrative. And you're not free from sin, Select Board Chairman, Police Commissioner Loughran. We saw the video. She ran from the Sally Port instead of stopping the crime in progress. Now we have another officer who thinks it's okay to get drunk while carrying his badge and gun, proceeds to lose both in that drunken haze, and the only thing this town does is dock him 3 8-hour shifts. My God, what a joke doesn't come close to covering that one. What a total and utter disgrace. This select board are the police commissioners of this town, and you're okay with that? This board's not going to stand up and say, no, that's not okay? Seriously? We've already had one drunken incident in town that cost us $300,000. How many more drunken incidents out there that we don't know about? We know how leadership works in this town. Don't ask, don't tell, do it in executive session. You had a chance to set an example, Helena. Instead, what you effectively said to this town is, our force is a band of merry men that can do whatever they want with reckless abandon. We know there's good cops on our force that want to uphold their oath. The sad fact is you're dragging them down into the gutter with you. They deserve better than that from their chief and from their select board. You wanted to give her one more year to see how she'd perform, Mike. I guess we have your answer. Fix the messes my officers make with a minor slap on the wrist for appearance's sake. And how safe is this town when the select board is too scared to show up in town and face the citizens? Change happens one decision at a time. Every decision causes downstream ripples. You had the opportunity to make a change, Mike. Instead, you used your power to give Rafferty another year, creating new ripples. One day, those ripples will crash into someone else's. That crash causes new ripples that choose their own path, and control is gone. When unrestrained ripples flow in all directions, the innocent become collateral damage. You own every single ripple of destruction that comes out of that station, Mike. I hope it was worth what you got out of that deal, whatever the heck it was. Receivership would be wicked pisser, Josh, before there's more blood on the streets of Canton. I remember your words, no fear, no favor. Can't wait till they
Thank you, Ms.
show up.
Sweeney. Thank you very much. Next we have Ms. Harrington. Give us just a minute, Susan, to unmute you. There you go. You should be good.
You can hear me okay?
Yep, perfect.
Thank you. I recently sent an email to the select board asking what, if any, rubrics were used for annual evaluations of key town employees such as chief of police, fire chief, town administrator, etc. I was dismayed to learn that no such evaluations are done. Doing annual evaluations with objective metrics is Management 101. It's especially important in a town like Canton, where select board members have known these individuals for decades and may have social relationships with some of them. These kinds of relationships can create biases that impede the select board in its executive functions. Moreover, a thoughtfully conducted annual review is an opportunity to assess goals that were or were not accomplished and in the prior year and make a plan to improve in the coming year. I implore the select board to adopt an evaluation process and share the results of these evaluations with the citizens, just as the schools committee does with the superintendent. On a separate note, I want to take this opportunity to encourage the select board to return to in-person meetings. I support the board's right to maintain order, and enforcing time limits for speakers is necessary toward that end. Our bylaws also clearly state that the board is well within its rights to ask anyone who is being disruptive to leave, and if necessary, ask a police officer to escort them out. I do think, however, that what got us here is your unwillingness to truly listen. Everything in your demeanor conveys your contempt for the citizens who bravely stand up to state their concerns. I recently listened to an interview with Dr. Anthony Fauci, who is recalling the difficult confrontations he had with activists in the early days of the AIDS crisis. Organizations like ACT UP were howling mad and not afraid to show it. Wisely, Dr. Fauci met with these activists, listened to what they had to say, and engaged in a constructive and respectful dialogue. The result is that they came to be allies and even friends. We need to express our concerns and be heard. This is even more important when you don't like what the speaker is saying. Take a breath and try to put yourself in the speaker's shoes. Face-to-face interactions will always yield better results than digital ones. We don't always have to agree, but if we can listen respectfully to one another, we can move forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Harrington. Next, we have Gina Franco. You go, Gina. You should be able to.
Can you hear me, Mike?
Yep, perfect.
Excellent. Gina Franco, third-generation Canton resident taxpayer. I have entrusted the select board of our town to manage the town, to treat everyone fairly and honestly, to be transparent. Apparently, I've been doing it blindly all these years. This last year, year and a half, my stomach has turned. I'm saddened. I used to call Canton my home and be proud of it. I've been called a townie many times and used to be proud of it. Not anymore. Chris Albert, sitting on that board, is an embarrassment to this town. Continues to be an embarrassment. He shouldn't be sitting up there, in my opinion. Treatment of townspeople I have seen in recent public meetings, specifically the police audit committee meeting. Bob McCarthy, who, in my opinion, wrongfully was appointed as chair to the police audit committee. He was the most opposed to it, as we all know. He needs to go. His treatment at that meeting to our townspeople was unfair, very biased. The two other members that he appointed, the members of our community at large, those were cherry picked, and we all know that. That is wrong. I'm in favor of the police audit, and from what I have just heard in the previous speakers, this audit is necessary more than ever. Bob McCarthy is stuck on 200,000. If it's 200, 300, 400, we need it. I pay a lot of taxes in this town on multiple properties, and I have done for so many years. I want my town back. I want in-person meetings back. I am unsure what you are afraid of, but you've been elected to represent the town of Canton and its residents and taxpayers, and I am one of them, and I'm embarrassed at this. So please come together and do what is right for the townspeople. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Ms. Franco. The only other person who has their hand up is Jen, but there is no last name. So Jen, if you can change your screen identification to first and last name, we'll call on you. And if not, we're going to move on